Okay. I think we're good.
Can we roll?
Yep. All right. Welcome back, boys and girls, to another episode of the Old Man Gaming Hour.
Or so.
Today is the long-awaited Pimp My List show.
Spirit fingers.
Oh, wow. Okay. Clearly didn't get enough sleep yet, or none.
Well, you see that I'm in the Ohana room.
Yep.
Yet another day.
So
here we go.
Yeah. So we got Josh cracked out on I don't know, probably 16 hours of being awake so far.
No, not even close. Not even close.
All right. So the premise of today's show will be a list review show.
Sepsis?
It might be, but I don't think so.
Yeah. There's no Nurgle. We're not talking Nurgle tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we will. We have a channel on our Discord dedicated to the show, and specifically for the Pimp My List editions. So if you're new or want to submit a list, you can go on our Discord, link below, and put your list in the Pimp My List channel. We will pick a few every time we do one of these shows, break it down, give suggestions to make it more competitive in a tournament setting, and that's the basic premise. All right. So before we get started in on the list, we want to go over just a few of our normal segments here. So, Josh, what did you do outside of Warhammer this week?
Worked. It's another tonight will be night 13 for me, 13th night in a row, and I will be on vacation starting tomorrow. So let's just plow through. The sooner we finish this bad boy, the sooner I go to bed, which means the sooner I wake up, and the sooner I'm done. So I'm ready to roll.
I don't know if the time works like that, but yeah, in your brain, I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Don't question me. I'm a nurse.
Nice. It's been a while for that one. All right. Well, not a lot from me outside of Warhammer this week either. Although, small announcement: my eldest daughter purchased a home. So this week on Monday they closed and started moving in.
Very nice. Ship one out.
Yep. So that's been consuming a few of our days this week on helping her move and get organized over there. So should probably finish moving her in this week, because we got to bring over like the rest of her stuff from the storage unit that she wasn't able to get without some help. So yeah, so that's about it. Got a couple softball games tonight. Nice. And yeah. Other than that, I think that's the consistency of my outside of Warhammer this week anyway.
Mine has been the same the last few weeks.
Yeah, Josh is super exciting on this segment from the Ohana room. He's like, "Yeah, I work. Move on."
I don't do a lot outside when I'm here.
But you do some stuff on the work desk, so let's talk about that. What is on the work desk this week for you?
Yep, same as last week. I have continued my my trek to get going with this cities list so I can make it playable. I made this goofy ass model. The
oh yeah, the ogre with the crow's nest.
Yeah. Finished one unit of the Fusiliers. I think what I have is playable at least in the what's that game?
Spearhead.
Spearhead.
Okay.
I think I at least have a spearhead built. I have quite a bit left to go, but I'm not probably going to get a lot more done. Excuse me, this week.
Well,
So
we do have a busy week this week,
yep.
and then you got vacations. So,
Yeah.
work desk for me. I did put a little bit more paint on those Morbeg Knights. I think the bases are all done except for putting some tufts on them. The mount is 90% done, and then the rider's probably like 80% done.
Okay.
So, another, I don't know, maybe another sit-down session of one or two. Hey, new follower, BT484. Let's go.
Hey, T, thanks for joining.
So, yeah, so I got a couple more sit-down sessions of those, and I think I'll be done. However, I'm looking at getting another 6 for my list. So hopefully
Luckily,
that.
mid-September, right before.
Yeah, yeah. I got a month to purchase, assemble, and paint 6 more. I think I can do it. I think I can bang 6 of them out if I just decided like today's a painting day. You know what I mean? And just sat down and painted a bunch. But my sessions usually last like an hour or 2, maybe at tops, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done for now.
Yeah, I need to bang out my entire Chaos Army because I think Slaves of Darkness is what I'm taking to MI. So
Yeah, you better get banging on that then too.
maybe we'll do a Streamlabs paint and sesh.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do maybe a show.
Could even almost do a show, I bet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about recent events.
Okay.
Namely, we just want to really talk about NashCon.
That's going on right now.
Currently happening, yes.
Okay.
I do have it pulled up like a pro. So after the first day of the tournament, we're looking at let's see how many undefeateds. We have 13 3-0s.
Okay.
Out of there was 116 players at NashCon this year for the AoS singles event.
That's a solid tournament.
Now I'm going to pose a question to you because this is pretty interesting to me. Out of those 13 undefeateds, how many do you think are Nighthaunt?
I believe there was a lot of Nighthaunt in the field. I think it was the highest amount.
You are correct. There was a bunch.
I'm gonna I want to say 6 or 7. I'm gonna go 6.
6. Well, let's pause and thank the new follower, Halo Dudes 45. Welcome to the show,
Halo
boy.
Dude. Welcome.
So out of the top 13 undefeated armies at NashCon AoS singles, day one, there are 2 undefeated Nighthaunts.
Ooh, only 2.
Only 2.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, I know of one particular guy that's playing Nighthaunt. John Anderson lost a game.
Who'd he lose to?
He lost to the top-ranked Nighthaunt guy.
Oh, so it was Nighthaunt.
It was a mirror. No, I seen him make a Twitter post about it, and it was a super close match, and he took a minor loss.
That sucks.
So it's just what it is. I mean, you're just gonna run into Nighthaunt, and so
yeah, somebody's got to lose that game.
yeah. So interestingly enough, though, the top 5 I'll round out for you. Okay.
I'm ready.
Top 5, Lumineth.
I'm not that surprised. I feel like they've been doing pretty well. Who else?
Number 2, Tom Guan, Lumineth.
Oh, he's playing Lumineth? He's playing a pretty interesting Lumineth list.
Yeah, he's playing the
boxes.
Yeah, I think that's probably what the Lumineth build is going to be for now.
I don't know if they all are. I think some of them are, but not all.
In third position, Cruel Boys.
Okay. Another list we knew was going to, or new army
Yep.
that we knew was going to be good.
Fourth, this is a surprise. Idneth Deepkin.
I wonder what their list is. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah,
We'll see how we finish, though. Is it that guy both played? Oh, no, he doesn't play that.
No. And then rounding out the top 5 is Soulblight Gravelords. And that guy's list I looked at because I was like, how in the hell is Soulblight undefeated? It's a cool list. You'll have to look at those. But to be fair, NashCon is the only tournament that I know of that's big enough anyway to get recognition nationally as one of the larger tournaments. And they do a weird 2-list format at NashCon. So you submit 2 lists. You have to play both of them at least once during the tournament. And a lot of guys will submit a list and then like change their list slightly. You know, like if you have a reinforced unit of something, you might split it up in the second list, so you just have the same list basically twice.
Right.
Although I've seen some guys playing Death that were like, here's my normal list, and then here's a Nagash list. So,
interesting.
Yeah, pretty interesting way to go about that. I guess maybe if Nagash is super good into a certain list or something that you're going to play, maybe play it, but yeah. So anyways, it's pretty fun to watch. Our buddy Clay from Kentucky, notably he is in 16th place, 2-1 with his Stormcast list.
Not bad.
Yeah. And I heard him talking about his Stormcast list before, and it's basically like, it's basically an Alpha Strike type of list. So either you're super oppressive into somebody, or it doesn't work. So he's like, I usually have quick games, 3-round games or something like that. And if it goes my way, it goes my way. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think he's really into any more like trying to play at tournaments to where it's like he's not sweaty for 3 full hours during a game and then doesn't ever get a chance to like kind of mingle around and whatever. So he says like, I'd rather have some quick games and then be relaxed and have some time in between games to bullshit with people and stuff. So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm surprised he's not playing Skaven yet.
Well, he did say that Skaven's still real techy. So he said he didn't want to get into that like whole I got to be super technical and think hard my whole game, type of deal. So, yeah. But anyways, good luck to those guys today. They'll be starting up here probably in the next half an hour, something like that for round number 4. So something to pay attention to.
Is Roush playing?
He is not.
Okay.
I thought that he might be. I messaged him last night, and he is not. He might be actually tuning into our show here. I gave him a sneak bit of info last night because we were talking, but he's actually driving up to Rob's house to play some strategy board game called Twilight Imperium.
It's like a 40K one. I don't
know. He said it's a tabletop strategy game, kind of like he described it as Risk on Crack. Okay. So I don't know, but he said he likes it, and Rob was running a game of that today, so he'd be driving up there.
I play board games. Me and Ethan are big board gamers.
So let's get into upcoming events because we have upcoming events, and we'd like to talk about them.
Yeah.
First upcoming event for us is actually this upcoming Saturday. So 6 days from now, we have our OMG August RTT here in Monroe at the Our House Games store. I think, and we talked about this a little last night, I think we're going to try to squeeze another table in there to get 2 more players in.
Yeah.
We have one player that wants to get in for sure, and then I'm sure we could fill the other spot in pretty easily. And if we can't, one of us will play. Not a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it was just a matter of figuring out if we could get another table in that room, which I thought we said last time we had enough room probably to do that.
I think we do. It depends.
So,
Like the biggest thing would be like if people from that weren't playing came and wanted to play somewhere. I think we left one table open.
yeah, well, that'd be the thing is, and that's if everybody shows up, I guess, and if we don't have any more drops or something this week.
Yeah.
But as it was last night, nobody else had dropped yet, so I would assume we're pretty good with there. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to have them as big as we can possibly get them without, feeling like you're crawling over people.
Yep.
To me,
Yep.
seems like we're growing in the people that want to come to the local store tournaments by quite a big percent from the first one.
Yeah.
So word of mouth is getting out. We're getting some new players at the store actually, so I think all of that plays into it. But yeah, so anyways, our RTT for this month is Saturday, and hope to see all you guys out there. And if you didn't get a ticket and you want to stop by and just mingle and say what's up and maybe get a game in with one of us, provided we have room to do so, bring an army. We'll be there. I'll have an army. I'll make Josh bring one.
I'll bring one just in case.
So other than that, the other announcement again, the tickets are on sale for our Old Man Gaming Open in 2025. It's going to be held in February of this upcoming year, February 22nd, 23rd, if I got the dates right. Yeah. Currently, we have 3 tickets sold out of the 40, and that went on sale last week. So get your tickets while you can.
They're clearly going fast.
Well, they're not going fast right now, but
They will.
they will soon because we're going to make a big announcement at our August RTT on Saturday to all the people that may not have seen that the tickets went on sale yet. And then also, we are gifting 2 of the seats to the Michigan GT, and Jeff up there will be handing those out and giving us a little shout out to a bigger player pool, because he's going to get about 100 or so people up there for his tournament, and word of mouth from there. I think we'll start selling them after September's done. So
Yep. That seems legit.
you got a little bit of time to get a ticket now if you want. There's no real guarantee after we make the couple announcements at these upcoming events that there will be any left after that. So I don't know. Get them early or don't get them, I guess. Is that what you say?
Get them early or go fuck yourself, I think.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, that seems
Aggressive?
Yeah, yeah, seems aggressive. Get fucked, nerds. Oh. Yeah, so anyway, yeah. Those are the upcoming events we got going on. We'll probably also announce pretty soon the next RTT at the store, which will be, what do we say, October or November-ish, probably.
So, what month is it? We're doing in August?
Yeah.
October, I would guess, unless things start working out, we would push it to November, but I can't see why we can't do October.
Yep.
I'd like to do it in 2 months.
Yeah. So we'll nail down a date for that one here soon. Maybe we can nail down a date this week, so we can let everybody know at the on Saturday when the next one is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Anyhow, let's get into. Before we forget, sponsors.
We got that and one other thing to talk about.
What's
While
the
you're
other
looking
thing?
at sponsors, I'll go over it. We have a Facebook page. We also added a Facebook group, Old Man Gaming. So go ahead and join both of those.
That's true.
We have an Instagram, a YouTube, and a Twitter. Obviously, you're probably watching us on the YouTube, so join us there. Click the bells, click the fucking follows and the subscribes. Get us going there. And then we're also on Twitch. So we're all over the place.
Yeah.
So you should
Do
be sick of hearing from us.
do the things, and then tell your friends to do the things, because
Yeah.
all nerds have nerd friends, and we love nerd friends too, as much as we love nerds.
All the time I tell people I got this nerd shit going on tonight, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I got this nerd stuff. You're not a nerd, you don't know. If you want to check it out, you can check it out, but you don't know."
But if you check it out, you have the risk of becoming a nerd like us. So
It's reasonable.
yeah. So sponsors for the events upcoming. So far we have the two that's been with us from day one. What do you call them? Our day oneers.
Day oneers.
Day oneers. Andy does a fantastic job over at Old Man Gaming. That's us. Gray Matter Gaming. You can check him out. We have his link in our Discords.
We got our mats. I saw you.
Yes.
You have our mats. We are ready to roll with our mats for the RTT. All purchased from Gray Matter Gaming, and so when you see them, you'll know that you're going to want to check his site out and pick some of those up. He's got some great looking mats.
Oh man. It just dawned on me that I gotta edit something here.
What do you mean?
We'll do that after the sponsors. Mike joined the show live on YouTube, and apparently I forgot to change the show title.
Oh, what's the?
I didn't realize it's probably the same one from last week, so it doesn't say Pimp My List.
Gaming bullshit with Gabe.
Yeah, so I'll change that in a minute.
That's why we're the number one show on YouTube.
Yeah, because we're super profesh and we never make mistakes. Thanks, Mike, for pointing out our failures.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I mean, there's been shows where I've been falling asleep. And now we're putting up the wrong fucking show title.
Yeah, at least I got the thumbnail right. Shit. So we'll fix that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, Andy over at Gray Matter Gaming, fantastic dude. Like Josh said, I picked up all the mats we purchased yesterday, and he drove them down to Our House Games for me, and he was able to check out the store while we were there. I showed him the room where we hold the tournaments at. He also gave us some Swiggy swag to hand out. Yeah, he's been with us from day one since we started running shows, tournaments. Cool dude. He actually is planning on playing in our in the OMG Open.
Very nice.
So I think he's just got to make sure he's got a vacation that it's like early February. But he wants to make sure that that's all, like the dates are not conflicting and stuff. But he said he should be good for that. So very cool. Have him out to play.
Owns a business and has a job.
Yeah.
Hardest working man in gaming.
It might be.
Hardest working man in gaming.
And super nice, very super nice. He's got an idea. I'll tell you afterwards, because I don't know if it's not official. It's not official, but he's looking at producing more product.
Oh, I'm fired up about it.
So he doesn't know when that will ever happen or if it will, but he was telling me about it. So I'll let you in on it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
And then our other day one sponsor, Michelle, she runs an Etsy store, Michelle Anderson, and her Etsy store is Tea for Its Treasures. You can also follow the link in our Discord or on our show notes once the stream is over. And she makes a bunch of gaming aids also, but she has she cuts everything out on either acrylic. I don't know if it's acrylic for the the clear plastic objective markers. She makes those, which are cool because some people really like those. Tim really likes those, so it doesn't take away from the design of the table.
Yeah.
And she also makes a measuring stick set that's magnetized, and all the sticks have their own spot. You know what I mean? So anywhere from 3-inch sticks up to 9-inch sticks, I believe, are in that set. I think you get like a couple 3s, a 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, and a couple 9s or a 1 9. Something like that. So anyways, check her out. She's got more stuff than that, but those are the two things that I personally like the best. And she can customize, like if you got your own logo you want to put on them or your club logo or something like that, she can make that happen for all your stuff. So very cool stuff there too. So if you get a chance, check out the sponsors, because we would appreciate if you like them as much as we do.
I don't know if that's possible. We like them a lot.
Yeah, well, you might. I mean, you may. But give them a shout anyways, because we said so. And you're going to do what we say because we're on the internet.
We're internet personalities.
Yep. All right. So, it's time. Oh, wait. Maybe I can switch the title. Hold, please. I got to remember where to do it. Josh, why don't you give the rundown of the premise of the Pimp My List show one more time while I figure out how to do this?
Yeah. So, I like to watch a lot of YouTube shows. I pretty much almost exclusively watch YouTube. And one of my buddies, Brad Chester, was doing a YouTube show where people send him 40K lists, and then he breaks down what he thinks is good and what's bad about the lists. Not really sure what he calls it, but I decided it was like Pimp My Ride, and so we went with Pimp My List. So what we're going to do is we're going to read, we have some lists submitted, like Jake said. We're going to read those lists. We will kind of talk about what we think needs to be changed, what we think needs to be added or subtracted, and then just have a dialogue about it. We probably could give you a list that's better in our opinion, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to give suggestions, what we think, and go from there. And, you know, the difference is Brad Chester is a world-class 40K player, probably one of the best in the world, and we're better than him. So we felt like we would be excellent people to give advice on how to go 3-2 in a GT and what we would do to change your list so you're 3-2, because we don't really do a lot better than that generally. On occasion, you've got a 4-1 or 2 under your belt.
Yep.
And I've won tournaments that Mike Roush wasn't in, as far as RTTs go. So
awesome.
I mean, I play him every fucking time, and I play him now in every GT's in. So I mean, you know. So yeah. So I think that's really the idea. Where are we at with that thumbnail?
Well, I changed it on. I was able to change it on.
YouTube?
No, not YouTube. The other one, Twitch. Yeah. I don't know if I can. I guess I don't know where on YouTube it exactly is to change the current live show.
No wonder we don't have any fucking viewers. Just kidding. It looks like we have BT and Halo dudes on Twitch.
Yeah, Mike's on YouTube.
All right.
I know that there's a spot. I can't remember. We've never had to do it on the fly before. So once you're on the fly, it's different because like the options go away.
Well, we'll just chalk this up to your fuck up and let's just roll.
Yeah. We'll change it on the afterwards on the actual YouTube channel. It'll be right.
Amateurs.
God. Well, he couldn't, he should have been able to join the thing way earlier. And, oh, hold please. Fuck yeah, figure it out.
Okay, yeah. What else should I talk about?
All right, Mike. Mike. Hey, Mike, is it fixed on your end? Let me know. Because we're moving on. Because I think I changed it, so
I mean,
that's
but who
about
cares, really?
it. Yeah, who gives a shit? This is a shitty show anyways. I'm going to drink more Kool-Aid. All right. So, as Josh was saying, this is how we're going to do this. First of all, let me go vertical. And capture a screen here because we do everything on the fly. This is a live show. Where's it at? There it is. Pimp My List doc. All right. So the first, okay, I see what you did. First list we're gonna show here. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Maybe I can make this bigger. There we go.
You don't want to have your notes on it.
No, I got it. We good, fam. All right. So first list submitted by Michael Roush. Big surprise. He's an internet whore, so he is always on posting stuff, liking stuff. One of the most active members in our Discord, and he wasn't the first to post the list, but he was second. And I particularly like this list. Well, I don't like the list, but we'll get into that. I was kind of surprised that he posted a Flesh Eater Courts list. I think he was trying to troll me, maybe. But I think what we're going to do here is... maybe we can do this. Hold on. Oh, please. I want to try to make this a little bit bigger.
Well, mine are longer than this, so
Okay.
you're gonna end up having to adjust.
Oh, now I can't see my own notes. I was dumb to make it big.
Okay.
Still, I
Just
can't
want
really
to point
see.
out, guys.
Anyways.
Again, fantastic. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent show.
Mm-hmm. All that you want and more. All right, so first part of the list is there's a couple things missing. So I don't know if he just did this on purpose because Mike's smart enough to know, but he didn't pick the only thing he picked was a battle formation, which is Lords of the Manor, which is clearly the best one for Flesh Eater Courts. That allows you to, anytime you use an ability that would bring back a model for recursion, you bring a +1 with that dude. So you're always going to use this one just because recursion is king in this army.
Yeah. They
don't have enough other things going on to where you can go, well, recursion's not important. So he also didn't list any enhancements or artifacts, the heroic trait or artifacts. So I'll give my 2 cents on where those belong and who they go on. Okay. So first of all, he's got Usharan in the list as the general. I think you're going to see this in probably 95% of the Flesh Eater Courts lists. He's the only access to the delusions that you had in your last 3.0 book. No longer is it an army ability. It's on his scroll, so you have to take him if you want it, and it's a free buff. And you can change it every hero phase of yours. So situationally it's good, and it's also good because he gives out +1 to save, which you need. Because everything saves on 5s or 6s. So...
That 12-inch bubble?
No, that's on objectives that you control, you get +1 to save.
Oh. Okay.
So it's good if someone's splashing into you or trying to pin you. You're a little bit more defensible, or if you're able to like alpha strike onto an objective and take it over, then you'll hold it better, type of thing. In his general's regiment, he has a 2-man unit of Crypt Flayers. Now, you say, why would you do that? Well, the only reason you can do that is because he also has brought a Crypt Infernal Courtier, which is the hero version of them. So they have, if you bring one of those heroes, you can bring a 2-man unit for a cheaper cost.
Yeah,
so he's coming in.
Does that because the way they come, you can only build 3 models.
Yeah.
So you only built 1 box.
Yep. So that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a neat gimmicky thing maybe, but it's still, I don't love that. He's coming in at 1980 points total. I think he probably had to fit that in there because of the rest of the list, but we'll go over that in a second. He's also got a reinforced unit of Crypt Horrors, which I think that's pretty good. A 6-man unit of those dudes can put out some damage. And they are semi-wound dense. I mean, they're 4 wounds apiece, so, you know, it's not bad. It's 24 wounds. He does have, like I said, he has the Crypt Infernal Courtier, which if that guy kills a model with his shooting attack, it gives other Crypt Flayers that are wholly within 12 of him, I believe, is the range, +1 damage on their shooting. I do love that a lot. I've ran that a few times already. Sorry, Scarbrand. But that's true. That this single little idiot made Josh quit playing Corn. So
I mean,
cool.
Just for now, and it doesn't matter because Slaves is better.
He's also got a single unit of Royal Beast Flayers in his general's regiment. Now, I want to say in this list he's probably jammed a lot of stuff into 2 regiments so he could be 2-drops. In my mind, probably not as important. Depends on what you want to do, I guess, with the list. He's obviously going 2-drops, so he has a better chance of having choice on who goes first. But again, you're putting more stuff in your general's regiment that are a little easier to kill.
Yeah.
So you're opening up a battle tactic to your opponent there. I like the Crypt Horrors in there because you could have them bodyguard Usharan for the -1 attacks thing for the seasonal rules. So I do like that part of it because you can kind of surround him with the horrors, and then if anything charges the horrors, now they also have to deal with Usharan, you know?
Yeah.
So that part is pretty good. The 2-man Flayer unit, like I said, I think he's just putting them in there because of the point squeeze that Feck have. Because in the other regiment, he's got the Abhorrent Cardinal, which is real good. He's 110 points, and he just hands out Noble Deed points. And if you ever played against Flesh Eater Courts, you'll know that the heroes need the deed points to do the recursion. And he basically is like, he has that, you roll a D3, and on a 2-up, you give that many deed points to a hero within 12 of him. So he's just going to go, okay, you get 2 or 3 deeds. I get 2 or 3 deeds. Now you get 2 or 3 deeds. And he also has access to all the prayers, since he's a priest. So he's gonna earn some points by doing some prayers. He's gonna give out 5-up ward most of the time. So I like him in the list. He's also got a unit of reinforced flares, which is going to go real nice along with the Infernal Courtier for that +1 damage on their shooting. And all their shooting's Ren 2 also. So Ren 2 damage shooting, pretty freaking good. Their combat attacks aren't real great, but if you're putting them into the right scenario, I mean, you can Ren 2 shoot half a unit off probably with those guys, or a whole unit maybe. But you could finish them off with a charge, So it's not a bad combo between the Infernal Courtier and a reinforced unit of Crypt Guard or Crypt Flares. The next unit in his Cardinals regiment is a reinforced unit of Crypt Guard. And then final it off with another Royal Beast Flares. Now, if you guys don't know Michael Rausch or his playstyle, he loves running a bunch of little idiots. He runs 80 Stabas for basically the whole 3rd edition in a Gits list. He loves the little teeny boys.
Played OBR with a bunch of cavalry.
Yeah, but he gave that up.
He won the tournament with it, and then he was like, all right, I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah. But he loves them. He'll tell you all the time, Stabbers are the best model in the whole game, blah, blah, blah. I think he's wrong, but he loves them. He is wrong. So, I think he probably, this is what I would imagine. I imagine he started building this list, and he went, Usharan's automatically in.
Always.
The Cardinal's going to be in because I'm going to need to generate deed points other than fighting. So He put him in. Then he said, all right, I like some flares. Where do I put the Courtier? Because I need to have him if I'm running flares, so to give the +1 damage, right? So put the flares in. And then he goes, I don't want to run a bunch of ghouls because the ghouls are kind of expensive. The only other small unit of dudes is the Beast Flayers, besides the Crypt Guard, but he reinforced those guys to be a hammer, maybe? It's a lot of attacks with the Crypt Guard. They also give heroes a 5-up ward, so I guess that is nice, but he doesn't have a ton of heroes. At least, he's going
to hang out with
the Cardinal.
Out with Ushran. Ushran and the Cardinal, probably both.
Ushran already has a 5-up ward.
Oh, well then it's unnecessary. So
and they don't. They used to give out +1 to ward saves.
Okay.
So people used to surround Ushran with him. So he'd be on a 4-up save and a 4-up ward.
Right.
But they don't do that anymore. They just give out, if somebody's within combat range of them, they get a 5-up ward. So I would imagine they stay home and protect the Cardinal. I'm going to guess. Or the Cardinal stays in the middle of that giant group of dudes. So he can stay out of combat and still hand out deeds. The 2 units of Royal Beast Flayers, although I don't hate the choice of them being in there, they do negate they negate damage from monsters, and also they turn off rampages.
Right.
So that's real good, especially if we're seeing a trend in the meta to where a lot of people are running that centerpiece monster in their lists. All they got to do is run up and tag that bro. They'll probably die. But they reduce the damage, so maybe not. I don't know. I haven't run them this edition yet, so I'm not real sure. But I think overall, I would say this. I would say if I was going to change this to be a bit more competitive, I would take the 2 Royal Beast Flayer units out. That gives you 240 points. I'd take out the 2 models of Flayers that aren't going to do a whole lot for you, I guess. I mean, they're fast, but you'll see what I'm going to do here. So you take out the two Royal Beast Flayer units and the Crypt Flayer 2 model unit, and you bring in. That'll give you what 360 points.
350, right? You were
350, yeah, 350, 240, yeah, 240 and 110, 350, and guess how many points a reinforced unit of Morbeg Knights is? 340.
And
So you could take those out, put in a reinforced unit of knights, and then be at 1970. The reinforced units of knights are real good. They get they're still fast. They're as fast as flayers are, so you don't lose any speed. They're another 24 wounded guys, so you're really not losing all that much wounds on the table by bringing them for that. You lose a little bit of board presence, obviously, because you're replacing 3 units with 1 unit. But they have retreat and charge, and they don't take the damage, right? So you could pretty reliably get them into combat. They have +1 damage on the charge. Fight. They have the best save out of all the knights in the whole army on a 4-up. So they're a little bit more survivable unit than either the flayers or the horrors. And you could always power through to get them out of combat if you didn't like them sitting where they're sitting. And then again, I mean, I think the recursion in the army is super important. So between like powering through, then banging a rally on them, if you took some casualties, or if that was like your opponent's turn and then you're going the next, then maybe you retreat them, do some recursion onto them, or you're just topping them off with if you got some deed points on your courtier, you bring a model back +1. There's also spells that allow access to doing damage to stuff and then recurring some models. So I think if they don't get one shot, I think you could not feel so bad if you had 1 or 2 models in the unit left. You're going to be able to get them back to full. And even if you don't, Usharon's going to have 6 deed points because as soon as he punches something, he'll have 6. And then, those 6 die at some point, you bring back 3 of them. Because he can bring back a unit of half strength. So I think that's what I would do to change the list slightly. Obviously, I run a completely, not a completely different list, but it's a little different than this. But that's what I would do, I think.
So what manifestation you taking with this list?
Oh, yeah. He didn't list one. In this list, he's only got Usharon as a 2-caster. So either you take the Morbid Conjuration, which is by far the most popular one right now because of the way the spells work in it, with the movement shenanigans they can do. You may also need them for movement blocking between Shackles, the Purple Sun, and the Gravetide. If you didn't want to go that route, I mean, it's like a 50-50 probably. If you didn't want to go the Morbid Conjuration, you probably go Kronspine. Because Usharon's likely going to have to cast out Strange Transformation every turn to give you guys some speed and some buffs there for +1 to wound.
Yeah.
And then also, you're only going to run into him having to do his War Scroll spell situationally, like if you're playing some big monster and they got some big combat attack to make sure that monster hits something of the enemies. But other than that, I think, you probably want to do Kronspine and get him out, or some movement blocking shenanigans with the morbid conjuration. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. So it's my thought. Let me tell you what I think. I think it's Kron Spine all the way. I think anytime you have probably less than 4 casts in a turn, or like 4 casts, so like 2 level 2s or a level 2 and 2 level 1s or something. I think probably Kron Spine is the way to go, especially when you're only on a level 2, 1 level 2, because I think then he's just got too much important shit to do. He's got to cast out all your spells, so you're going to get the Kron Spine out there. You'll have him out there, and then you'll go from there. That's just my thought on that. And you'll see when we talk about my lists, I kind of follow that rule. Then I agree with getting rid of that 2-man Crypt Flare. I mean, it's fast. I know you're pretty big on knights, and I kind of am too. I don't know what 2 bros are going to do, especially in your generals. Regiment, I feel like it's just easy pickings to go get a tactic. I like 1 unit of Royal Beast Flares. I think 2 is overkill. There's not a ton of armies bringing like multiple monsters, so you get your 1 group in there, and you can shut down your rampages and like gimp some monster units. Now there are some armies like Khorne that are running 2. So I mean, I don't know. I still think 1 is probably good, 1 unit. The top armies, let's talk like just at NashCon day 1. You had Nighthaunt, no monsters. You had Lumineth.
Yep, no monsters.
Maybe a monster. You had the Swamp Boys. They bring monsters. And then who else was in there? I know we just talked about it, but it's day 13.
Idnith and Soulblight. So they may have a monster apiece in there.
Yeah, 1 monster apiece. And Soulblight, it just depends. I think they'll probably play monsters, but I don't know. So I feel like 1 unit of Royal Beast Flayers is kind of tech, anti-monster tech. And like you said, they want you to bring those centerpiece models. They've made them pretty special in every army. So maybe you cut loose that unit of Crypt Guard and the unit of Flayers and see what you can bring with that's 350 points.
Yeah, you could bring the Knights then too if you wanted to keep the
the Royals.
Yeah. But either way, like I think the Crypt Guard might be kind of tanky. I mean, it's 20 wounds dudes when you reinforce them.
Well, like you said, Mike like to run that lots of little boys. But you could also cut loose the Crypt Flayers and 1 Royal Beast Flayers and bring your Knights. You still have some speed there, a little bit more staying power than your Crypt Flayers. And then you still have the Crypt Guard and the Royal Beast Flayers. I'm not certain about the points at that point. I don't know how many points 3 Knights are, but you might have
170, same as Flayers.
All right, so you're going to have some points left over. You're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge. I think, and maybe that's just a bigger challenge for armies across the board, but especially FEC is everything's pretty expensive. Like they're on like the higher end of things. Like your little bros, 20 ghouls is 170. Right? So ghouls are hard to take because they're so expensive. All your knight units are 150 to 170. So by the time you take a unit and reinforce them, you're looking at a 300 to 350 point unit per unit. So it's a tough go for them as far as the points go right now, because you're just shy of making a pretty good list. Because I've made handfuls of lists that were like at 30 points over, 20 points over.
Yeah.
So if they get a little bit of adjustment and drop them a little bit, I think they'll be better. But right now they're just in a tough spot as far as list building goes.
Okay.
So that'd be our thoughts on list number 1.
And I'll be honest, I don't hate the list. I mean,
Yeah, like I said, I don't hate it either. I would prefer the way I play it, running it differently. That's all.
well, you don't like any little guys, so
I mean, like I don't want to run a horde. I wouldn't necessarily say I'd have a problem with little bros, especially like something like this where it's like a 10-man unit, a 10-man unit, and a 20. They're not like, oh, I got to move 80 or 100 little dudes around. And then once they get hit, they get annihilated.
yeah.
So, but anyways, well, thanks, Michael Roush, for submitting the list. We'll move on to one of Josh's lists.
We can go to my Soulblight Gravelord's entry. It's by Psycho Philosopher.
Yep,
Um,
one of Clay's group buddies.
okay, so he's playing Soulblight. It's Legion of Shaiish, 2,000 points. I didn't put the points on here. I did in my kind of some of the points in my hand, like my thoughts. It's 2 drops. He's playing obviously Lore of Undeath and then Morbid Conjuration. In his General's Reg, he has Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead, and a unit of Black Knights that are reinforced, so 10 bros. And then in his main Reg, he has Manfred, a unit of Fellbats, and 2 units of 10 Graveguard. His question was, he wasn't sure if he wanted to run the Fellbats, or if they're better, or if he should be running Blood Knights instead of Black Knights. Although the Black Knights are Death Rattle. And so I just had some thoughts on it. My biggest thought was, do you want to run Nagash and Manfred? I feel like, if I was running Nagash, I would try to run I would almost try to run it as a 1-drop. If you can't run it as a 1-drop, I have some ideas for other characters you could run with him. The big thing about Manfred is he's going to do a lot of cool stuff with your undead units, but he's not going to have anything to cast. So Nagash is a 9-caster, and Manfred is a 2-caster. Nagash is going to get all of your Morbid Conjuration out there on the table. He's going to cast all of your spells in the Lore of Death, and he's going to cast 3 more spells off of his personal list. So, I mean, what's that leave for our boy Manfred? His only spell on his card is Wind of Death, and I'm not in love with that spell. It goes off on a 7. He doesn't get bonuses to cast. You pick a point within 18 inches and pick up to 3 units that are within 6 of that spot, and roll a d3 for each, and you can do 2 or 3 mortals. I don't really care about that. What he does bring to the table is he has his Sword of Unholy Power. If you kill a model for the rest of the turn, you get +1 attacks on melee attacks for Death Rattle and Deadwalker units wholly within 12. So if he's out there in the mess, you can add 1 attacks to, let's say, if he's creeping near those Graveguard, that's freaking sweet. Also the Black Knights, that's a big ass unit of Black Knights. And they're pretty popular right now as far as cavalry goes. I think they're a little more popular than the Blood Knights. So that's really decent. So then, he has to peel a model. His weapon, 6 swings, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, and 2 damage. So against like a basic infantry or a chaff unit, he's going to probably peel at least 1 model. Against elite models, maybe not as good. You're going to expect to get 3 save rolls. So 3 of those hits are going to go through. They're going to maybe 2 depending on the armor save, and you're going to do somewhere between 2 and 4 damage. So, I mean, you're probably going to peel small infantry like those Crypt Guard or the Royal Beast Flayers, pretty easily. But like against those the whores, maybe not as much. Although they'll be, they don't have great armor. So the Mortarch of Night is super strong on Manfred. He if if he's in combat, you could redeploy a unit near him to make sure they're also in combat, or to get them a little bit closer, so they're going to get the benefit of his sort of unholy power. It also can. So what it does is it lets you redeploy into combat with one unit fully within 12. So,
seems good.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it on him, or you can use it on your units. The thing is, you won't get your charge bonus if you use it on him, or if you use it on the units that that it doesn't count as a charge. So he also has the ability that gives him on a 3-up when he charges, strike first. So
No,
you're not.
no. You'll get it. His rampage is a combat ability, not a charge ability.
Yeah, it's in the combat phase.
Yeah, so you get it.
If he charges on a 3+.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I got what you're saying. I was thinking you were thinking it was a combat.
Phase.
Yeah, charge phase.
Yeah, but if it's in the charge phase, it doesn't matter. You'd still be able to do it.
I got you. Yeah.
But it has to charge the turn to get that.
Get the thing. Yeah.
I think if I was going to rebuild this list, I'm just going to start with that right now. I've got a lot more to say about it, but I would go with Manfred. I would bring Manfred. He's better to improve the Grave Guard. He has the abilities to be kind of sneaky, like with the redeploys and stuff. If you're bringing them both, the cool thing is you can kind of get Manfred stuck in because you still have Nagash. So, I mean, personally, I'm not sure that I would run both of them in one big army, but if that's something you're going for and you're really just trying to do that, which it seems like he is, then I think they're both really good. The thing is, Nagash is 880 points. Manfred's only 410. Together, they're 1290, and that's that's more than half of your 2,000 points. Doesn't leave a lot of room. So I want to talk about the units that he's bringing: 2 Grave Guard, the Fellbats, and 10 Black Knights. So my biggest question here is, why are we reinforcing the Black Knights and not the Grave Guard? Could be points related, but if you have 2 units of Black Knights, you're able to use them out there, like spread them out, send them to the board corners, do some tactics with them, which we'll talk about. And then also you can, if you have to, you can bring them both into charge 1 unit, and it's like you have all 10. To me, and then also you get the benefit of, I guess, 2 champions. The Grave Guard are going to be a little squishier, and if you brought 20 in 1 unit, they're going to have a little bit more staying power. You're going to walk them up there onto objectives, and they're going to just own that objective. And if anything comes to try to mess with them, they're going to mess them up. If you have, 10, you may just end up losing them. I mean, 10 guys is with kind of shitty saves isn't that hard to clear. So that's my thoughts on that. I really question the logic there. So I kind of want to talk about what this army can do with tactics. Do not waver is one of the main tactics. I mean, it's kind of tough with this army. You're going to end up scoring that one with probably Manfred and Nagash, because the units have to get into combat and then not die. They're your only 2 units that you're. Well, I guess if you're bringing the big unit of Knights, they're not going anywhere. I mean, I feel like it's easiest with Nagash and Manfred. Slay the Entourage is doable. You're going to be able to kill anybody's General's Regiment stuff. Attack on 2 fronts. That's a tough one. Your toughest units are Nagash and Manfred, so the biggest risk with that is, do you want to like spread them out to 2 different places, or do you want to have them kind of protecting each other and play more castle? So I think the Grave Guard, if you bring a 20-man, is tough enough. But in 2 10-mans, it's kind of tough. Take their land again. Manfred is going to be useful, and this is where like 2 units of or Black Knights would be better. You're going to be able to run one out to go take their land, and then hit some stuff, in conjunction with Manfred or whatever have you. Graveguard are way too slow in this role. I think they only move 4. I'm not 100% sure. And Fellbats will be perfect for this also. I like at least 1 unit of Fellbats in this army to be your prospectors. That's what I watched one of Vince's videos. I think it was the one on Chaos, and he was like calling all of his point scorers prospectors. They're out there prospecting for points. So I liked it. I really don't know what else the Fellbats do in this except for score points. They're not going to win any fights. They're not going to kill any characters. They're not really going to do a whole lot else. Maybe they might kill like weak wizards. Seize the center, I think, is a red herring. I think if you go first, you're going to shove something up the middle, and then it's easily countered with a nice counter charge. Or you're putting something out there in the middle to die. It's a risky tactic to do turn 1. But anything in your army should be able to get to the center of the board if you set it up right. The problem is keeping it out of combat once it gets there. If you had 2 units of Black Knights, you could run one up past the center and then put the other one there, so you have one screening, or put anything behind it. And then you're only risking 5 Black Knights, so I kind of like that a little bit. Take the flanks. Obviously, you're using 2 units of horses, or you're using a bats unit and maybe Manfred. I still think that right there shows 2 units of horses is better. Mark for the Grave is doable by most of your units except for the Fellbats. You're going to be able to go out there and kill a chaff unit. If you're playing against a heavier elite army like something you play, it might be tougher to do. Then you're counting on your spells from Nagash. You're counting on maybe your Kron Spine. Well, actually, in this, I said Morbid Conjuration would be better because you have 2 casters. So, I mean, there you have 4 spells you're going to be able to get out. Each one's going to be able to, well, one's a 9 caster, one's a 2. You're going to be able to get out all your stuff and still be able to cast all of your spells a bunch. And then Inevitable Demise. It's easier for 2 small units of horses and the bats. They'll be able to score that one much easier. You got to get into your opponent's zone, but not within 9 of any of your opponent's models. Smaller units might be easier to do that with. I like Legion of Shaiish. That's the group he took. It's decent here. It gives you that second Unholy Invocation or whatever, the heal 3 ability. But I really think I like Death Stench Drove more, as well as Death March. And so Death Stench Drove gives Graveguard the ability so that it lets you pile in at the end of the phase, at the end of the turn, with up to 3 units. You're going to be able to better position those Graveguard, maybe bring them a little closer to Manfred to get that bonus. And also, you're going to get to do some mortals with that, especially if you're running 2 units of Graveguard. I would definitely go Death Stench. The other thing, Death March, if you're charging with those undead models, the Death Rattle models, you're going to get to add +1 to your rend. So on the charge, your Graveguard are going to have that +1 rend. Your Black Knights will be doing a lot of charge, and they will get the +1 rend. I just think either one of those is a lot better than getting the bonus 3 heals. You're getting 3 heals anyways, and I think Nagash has a heal. And so I think that it's just overkill. As far as his questions go, I just don't think you want Blood Knights in this list. He had asked if he should be running Blood Knights. I think that Blood Knights are better in like a the Prince, what's his name, Prince Vordai or whatever.
Yeah.
He buffs them. There's really not a buff to these guys, to the Black Knights in this list, and I just wonder if they're just going to go out there and be a pitting unit, end up being for you. I mean, they're kind of like knights in a lot of armies. They have a lot of staying power, but they don't. After their charge turn, they just don't do a lot of damage. So you got to retreat them and charge them again.
Yeah. Well, and they're on a 3-up save because they're armored heavy cav, and they got
Right.
vampire keywords, so they do a little healing themselves, right?
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying they'll stick
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
but they're not going to kill anything. You know, at least in my opinion. So the overall changes I'd make to this list, if it were my list, I'd run with the Death Stench Drove to get that extra pile in. Getting the extra mortals at the end of the turn is solid. Extra movement's always good, especially with slow ass Graveguard. I wouldn't do the Blood Knights like I just said. I would personally either pick Nagash or Manfred. I'd go with Manfred. I just think Nagash is too many points. 880 is so many points. I mean, he does a lot of stuff, but he's going to win you the game or lose you the game. I played a game against Ethan, and I beat up Nagash, and then it was a game. I was like, okay, great game. Let's see. I think you get more bang for your buck with the Manfred though. If you free up that 880 points, you can run that big ass unit of Black Knights, and you can reinforce your Graveguard units. You can add a few more objective grabbers, like maybe another unit of bats, or a few more small units of Black Knights. You can also add Torgillus. He can do your Deadly Invocation a second time. So you're almost like you're using two battle formations there. You're getting your Death Sense Drove and the second invocation. So Torgillus is solid. He's also a caster, so I mean he's going to help you there. And his spell makes. Hey, French Tastic, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Just talking Pimp My List shit today. So if
And
you want to learn, then Josh is schooling you right now.
right now, write that down. And also Torgillus' spell is freaking sweet. He's going to make your models more difficult to wound. You're -1 to wound. And he's only 180 points. Another model that I really like in this list is the Vampire Lord. He's just a little bro, and he doesn't do a lot, but he can teleport all over the table. So he just basically decides if he's not in combat to teleport, and he has to end 9 inches away from opponent's model. So if somebody leaves a wizard in the backboard, he can go back there and fight that guy. He won't be too terribly bad. He also can tee up for some tactics. He's 160 points. So if you lose him, okay, like it's not like losing your Manfred because you had to leave him out to dry out in the middle of nowhere. Teleportation is good, and then I really like Radakar the Beast. He's like a super good hammer. He does a lot of work on his own. He can kind of cruise out and be out there on his own. The other thing that I forgot to mention earlier is when you're running a Gash and Manfred, you're just not bringing any artifacts or heroic abilities.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're just leaving a lot on the table with that as well. Whereas if you brought that Vampire Lord, he's going to maybe have, I didn't even look at him because he didn't bring any, but you might bring an artifact or a heroic ability that is going to be beneficial and help out your army as well. So those are really my thoughts. The biggest thing is if you're literally running this list and you don't want to change anything, I would try to split that Black Knights list or Black Knights unit at least, and if you can, I'd put those Graveguard together instead. That's like my biggest.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Like right off the jump, if you're just going to make a minor change, because either maybe that's the models you have or something, just break up the Black Knights and then combine the Graveguard. That way your list has 3 fast units with the Fellbats. You got
4 if you count Manfred too.
Well, right, but I mean, I'm saying like not non-hero fast units. That's what I meant. But also, like having a 20-man unit of Graveguard is punchy. So then you have Nagash, Manfred, and a Hammer unit. That might just feel better on the table.
Yeah.
Just by making that easy switch. I did want to bring up just a couple thoughts, like you did. The list that I really like that I've seen recently, as far as Soulblight goes, is not with either one of those heroes, but is ran with Neferata. So it's Neferata, a reinforced unit of Blood Knights. Okay.
Okay.
And that's in the General's Regiment. Then you have a regiment with Prince Voldry and 3 units of single non-reinforced Direwolves. And then a Vampire Lord. So your Vampire Lord would take the enhancements and the artifact. You have 3 fast unit of Direwolves for doing all your movement shit. You got Prince Voldry, the Blood Knights, and Neferata to be your scary pieces, right?
Yep.
And that kind of lists more gears toward like how I like to run stuff. I like to have monsters. I like to have big dudes. I like to have heavy elite units. So that all of that kind of speaks to me in a way that seems like the list that I would love to run. I don't have a Nagash model myself yet, so I haven't had a lot of experience with him. But to Josh's point, if Nagash dies, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And it's always been the problem with him, right? Or any model that's 800-900 points, is you invest that so much, like almost half your army into one model, and if you can't reliably protect him, you're not going to win a game, right? Or it's very, very hard after you lose him to do the stuff you want to do. I mean, Nagash is really cool. He has all those spells. He also can bring a unit back from the dead once, right?
Yeah.
So like, and it doesn't matter. It does not. Is it limited to units, or is it just heroes and everything?
You can't bring back heroes.
No heroes. Okay. So
Mike made a good point. Death Sent is only for dead walkers. So yeah, I guess I wouldn't roll with Death Sent. I would definitely go with Death March instead, with the +1 rend. But that's neither here nor there. He was just making that comment in the YouTube. But continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, I didn't see his chat yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like if you're not gonna run, I mean it's gonna depend on what models you have, but I think the other version, like you were alluding to, is if you wanted to run just Manfred, then you take out Nagash, and the other list that I liked, I was reviewing some lists off of NashCon, and these are where I'm pulling these from. But the first one is what I would run, the one with Neferata and Voldry.
I like that. I like Voldry too. Probably, I don't know if I have Neferata in my list, but I haven't. Maybe. I mean,
Yeah. But this one's similar. This next list is similar to this one that Psycho Philosopher submitted. However, like you take out Nagash, right? So you got a lot of points. So you got Manfred, a reinforced unit of Black Knights, which he has. But you run Belladama Volga,
Okay.
Torgillus, a Necromancer. You reinforce the Graveguard, like we said, and then 3 units of Direwolves. So like the core of this list is still the same minus Nagash, but you're swapping Fell Bats for wolves and a couple more heroes because of Nagash is gone.
Yeah.
But Belladama helps the wolves out or brings more wolves, right? Or both.
Yeah, I was just looking at.
Torgillus brings back models, and he has that good spell. I mean, it's probably better as far as like not being as risky of a list to bring than the Nagash list. Like I said, if Nagash dies, you're fucked, and you cannot allow Nagash to die. Period. If you're bringing him in a list like this, so maybe a couple of those minor changes or shift it off of Nagash. But if you're dead set on Nagash, then just the minor changes to list, I think you'll be better off than what it is presented. So.
I agree.
So, very cool. Thanks, Psycho Philosopher, for submitting a list. The next list I have is actually from Gabe Coball that we had on last week talking hobby. And he submitted his take on a Skaven list that he had talked about last week. And his list is called Professor Ratigan and the Adaptive Mechanical Martian Rats.
Oh, yeah.
It's super thematic. We got to show some world premiere photos of this army and his display board and stuff last week when we were talking to him with hobby stuff. And he's running the Warp Cog Convocation as his battle formation. I did pull it. Oh, of course it reset. Let me pull it up real fast again here. Just so we can tell you guys what these things do. All right, so the Warp Cog Convocation is for Scryer prototypes, and it's once per turn in your shooting phase. You can pick up to 3 Scryer units and roll a dice for each of them and apply the corresponding effect. 1, Kaboom, which is a Skaven type of thing, and you inflict D3 mortals onto the target. So don't roll ones. 2 to 5, you get more power. So it's add 1 to wound rolls for the target's shooting abilities for the rest of the turn. And if you roll a 6, it's more power. In addition to the more power rule, you also get +1 rend for your ranged weapons for the end of the turn. So that's going to be important when we go through his list because he has Scryer shooting units. So he's gearing toward ramping up his shooting attacks. So he's got the Vermin Lord Deceiver, which he equipped him with Foulhide and Scurry Away. Foulhide is a artifact that allows him at the end of any turn to D3 heal. So real good. Okay. And the Scurry Away is a combat phase ability, which if the unit's in combat, you roll a dice and a 3-up, you can immediately use the retreat ability as if it were your movement phase. So he's got the ability to get out of a sticky situation if he finds himself in one, if he chooses to. You know, somebody charges in and he doesn't want to fight somebody's hammer unit or something. Any combat phase, he can roll a 3-up and just get out of there. So pretty good because really, like, if you're getting yourself in a bad scenario, you scurry away, you use a retreat, which is going to suffer the D3 mortals, right? But he does have a 5-up ward because he's
Skaven characters take mortals for retreating. I'm not sure.
I think they still do because it doesn't say you don't.
I thought it was an army ability.
Oh, maybe it might be. Check that out because I'm not sure on that. But Even so, if you scurry away, take the damage, then you use the foul hide to D3 heal yourself at the end of the turn anyway.
Yeah.
So essentially, you might not take any damage as it is.
Yeah. No. Oh no, it's infantry and cavalry. So that guy's a monster.
Okay, so yeah. So he would have to take the damage, but he's going to heal himself anyways. So the Deceiver himself is a pretty cool choice. I didn't look through the other Vermin Lords, but I think this dude's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
He's got a 4-up save and a 5-up ward, Wizard 1. So he's decently survivable on his own anyway. He's only got 13 health because rats have to be thematic in the number 13, I guess.
Seems legit.
Yeah. He does have a pretty decent shooting attack for himself. It's 13 inches. Again, why? Because 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, ran 1, damage 2, but crit auto wound. I mean, damage 2 shooting's pretty good. And then his melee attack is way better. He's got 8 attacks on 3s and 2s, rend 3, 2 damage base, and crit mortal.
I mean, that's basically mortals, even if you don't crit.
Yeah.
Rend 3 is wicked strong.
Yeah, I mean, basically anything you hit and wound with, I mean, you're pushing that shit through a lot of stuff, right? Even on like a 3-up save guy. Pretty good, yeah.
Messing a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, so he's a pretty good fighter. He has a decent shooting attack if you want to keep him at range for a little bit. And he's Wizard 1, so he's also casting a spell. He does have the ability to, when he does a retreat, that he automatically retreats 4 or more. So if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, he's redeploying 4 inches. So that also helps him with survivability. The other ability he has is once per turn in any combat phase, you can burst from the shadows. So if he's in combat, you roll a dice, and on a 4-up, you can pick a point on the battlefield 13 inches from this unit, and within an inch of any enemies, remove this unit, and set up again within an inch of that point. This ability allows you to set up in combat with a new enemy unit. So that's his rampage ability. So, and this is in any combat phase. So, like I said, if he's in a bad fight for him, he just gets to move into another fight that benefits him.
Yeah, I kind of like this because you're able to then also just bounce around the board. I mean, he moved 10.
Yep.
And then you get into combat. Let's say you charge something, and then you do this ability. So you burst from the shadows, and you may jump over an entire unit into some characters. Or you move forward, and then you can also do the scurry away after that,
Yep.
and get yourself completely out of combat and ready to do something on that backside in the next turn. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of tech there. I mean, you still have to get a 4-up and a 3-up, but it gives you a lot of options.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, he's a cool Vermin Lord. I think he's got a lot of nice pieces that go along with him. But in his regiment, he is not the general, by the way. Even though he is a I guess he's not. Maybe I thought he was unique. He's not unique. So he's not the general, but he brings with him, which is an interesting choice, I thought, 10 Night Runners and 20 Clan Rats. Obviously, the 20 Clan Rats are 20 Clan Rats. They do what Clan Rats do. They get in the way, they screen, and then they die.
Yep.
But the Night Runners, I don't know if I love this or not. Actually, I don't love it. I will say that. Night Runners are like a sneaky choice. And I'm not sure what you're going to use those for. Maybe to run around the board hugging onto terrain pieces and being able to snag an objective or a tactic at some point. They just have that ability where, like, if they're wholly within 1 inch of a terrain feature, you can't shoot them unless you're closer than 9 inches, I think.
They also get a pregame move.
Well, the pregame move is one thing. They only move, what, 7?
7 plus their Eshin, so they can use the Deceiver's ability to give them at least a 4-inch redeploy.
Okay.
And the big thing about them, I think, is they have a 10-inch shot, 2 shots each, 3 for the characters. So you're shooting 21 times, 4s and 4s, 1 damage, but crit auto wound. So
Yeah, it's not nothing. It's a little. It's
wait,
probably more of a chip damage shooting attack.
yeah.
But like I said, I think maybe they're 130 points, so maybe you put that point value somewhere else. Maybe.
I like them. I think they come in a unit of 10s, don't they, normally?
Yeah.
I think reinforcing it is a lot. I don't know if I do that. Because they're going to be your scoring unit. There's not a lot of other scoring units in this list.
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking that he's probably got it in there just to be able to kind of scurry around the board and shoot some things if he's close enough, and if not, he's just going to be kind of hidden-ish. But the General's Regiment has Thankful, and Thankful himself's not overly an auto take like he was in previous editions. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't think he's bad. Just don't think he's as good as he was before. Or at least you can't use him as people used him before, maybe.
Well, he doesn't get that the warp fire thrower, flamethrowers or whatever that he had before. They're like auto hit.
Yeah.
Flamethrowers or whatever. I mean, he has a decent shot.
Yeah, I still think his shooting's okay. It's a companion weapon, which kind of sucks because it's companion and it's only 1 damage. Like if the profile was just the same, 10-inch range, 6 attacks, 2s, 3s, Ren 2, and 2 damage, then you're talking, right?
Yeah, might be too strong then, right?
So, I don't know. I mean, he's a wizard too, which I love. And he's bringing the Morbid Conjuration, so he's going to get a total of what? A Vermin Lord has 1, Thankful's 2, and the Grey Seer has 1, so 4 casts with that.
He's not bringing Morbid Conjuration, though.
Yeah, he is. It's right on the screen.
Fucking Warp Cog.
The Warp Cod Convocation is the battle formation.
Oh, I was thinking that was his.
No, at the bottom of his list, he listed his other
right.
things.
Okay. I was wondering why he was thinking. I was thinking that was the spells. My bad.
So Thankful is the general because he is unique, and he's got 14 health on a 4-up, 5-up. So I like him in that regard. He also is a +1 casting as a passive ability because he is a wizard boy.
He's a Grey Seer.
And I mean he has a spell that I don't think is that great, but it can be used, I guess. It turns off commands to a unit. And then you roll dice for each model in the target unit, and if for any 6s, it does 1 mortal damage. So
I think that's a really good spell.
I mean, turn off commands is great, but do you want to waste a cat? I don't know. Maybe you're just going to cast it anyways, because I don't know what the full lore is Skaven is. Maybe there's not that great of other spells.
I mean, you're shutting down their ability to redeploy, their ability to countercharge, their ability to shoot in your turn, their ability to cast spells in your turn.
Well, you got to be within 13 inches of something. So, I mean, you're still going to have to be semi-near something to be able to do that.
Well, and like you said, he's not as good as he used to be at shooting.
Yeah.
But if you look at his melee, this guy could put the fucking hammer down a little bit. I mean, the beast has...
4s to hit, though, is not that great.
I mean, it's a monster. So you all out attack with it. You're hitting on 3s, then wounded on 2s, Ren 2, 3 damage. And then with your staff, you're hitting on 3s, 4s, 1 rend and D3 damage. That's not that great, but I mean, that's a potential 12 plus 18, 30 damage. This thing can do in melee if it goes off. I mean, that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's got 14 health and a 4 up, 4 up,
4
5
up, 5 up. Yeah, I mean, like, but he doesn't have a way to heal himself.
Yeah, he does. End of turn.
Oh, no, I didn't scroll down
Heal
far enough.
D3
Heal D3. Okay, that's good. End of any turn, so he's always going to heal at least 1 to 3, right?
every turn.
Yep. And I also did forget, once per turn in the combat phase, he's got a rampage ability to pick a unit that he's in combat with, roll a dice on a 3 to 5, inflict D3 mortals on the target, and then on a 6, inflict 2 D3 mortals. Okay, I might have changed my mind about him being in combat. So yeah, he's gonna do a chunk between the rampage and his warp fire braziers.
I don't know if I'm going to do a combat by himself.
No. But I mean, he's your general, so he's gonna be surrounded by something, right?
Yeah, I mean, he can get focused down is the biggest problem. if somebody if he runs into a buzzsaw, I mean, he's strong, but he's not so strong.
Yeah. Only healing D3 is an issue if you're going to constantly try to shove him into people's faces. But I mean, you can pick the right fight for him, I guess. He moves 8. So it's not like you can't get him in a position where you're going to fight something that's not as strong.
Yeah.
So he's good. He's just fine. Along with him, in the General's Regiment, comes 6 Warplock Jezzails. Super good. And super good shooting unit. They are Scryer, so they're going to benefit from the battle formation. Right? So, I mean, if they don't blow themselves up, you're going to be, what are the other 2 effects? +1 to wound and +1 to rend. And then if you all out attack them, they're basically going to be on 3s and 2s, I think. I have to look at it real quick because I forget I thought I memorized it, but I didn't. The Warplock Jezzails, they're 4s and 3s base. 24 inches, rend 2 damage, and crit auto wound. So you're going to be able to get those guys +1 to hit and +1 to wound, and +1 to rend. So you're going to have 2, that'd be 12 attacks on 3s and 2s, rend 3, 2 damage. Real hot. Hot. Oh, and you don't even have to use all that attack because I forgot about their ability that if they do not move, they get +1 to hit on their scroll. So you're going to plop them 24 inches away from wherever your target is. They're going to sit there, and they're going to have rend 3 2 damage shots into whatever they're shooting. Not that will outright kill something, but it has potential to.
Yeah, I think that anytime I'm bringing Jezzails, I'm bringing a Warlock Engineer.
Yeah, I thought about that when I read this because I was like, where's the ability to ignore the hero protecting ability?
Yeah.
And that I forgot that was on the engineer. So it would be real oppressive if he was able to find, like, maybe you take out the Night Runners and bring the Warplock Engineer. Well, how much is he?
Night Runners are 130, and the Warlock Engineer is 150.
So you'd have to lose something else.
Yeah.
He was at 2,000 points exactly, I think, with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can do it with this particular list.
Yeah, maybe not. So because of the Vermin Lord and the Thankful being kind of expensive heroes, you can't. But, I mean, maybe that's just what the change has to be. Maybe you have to take one of these guys out and focus more on... If you wanted to do that. If you want your Jezzails to hero snipe, then you got to bring the engineer to give them that ability. But I mean, that's just one avenue. I mean, I still don't think this list is bad.
This is great.
Yeah, I think I would like this quite a bit. I mean, you're still going to do a lot of damage with the Giselles. You'll still be able to target a hero or a monster. I mean, a monster anyway, but a hero, if they don't have their hero next to a unit for some reason, like they charge their unit in and their hero's just kind of sitting out there. So they could pick off heroes by doing that too. So maybe it's not as big of a deal, really. And then his last regiment is a Grey Seer with 2x3 Storm Fiends. Now I thought about this because I thought, like, the initial thought is, why not put the Storm Fiends together and make a giant fucking murder ball of 6 of them? Because a lot of people do that. A lot of people will bring 6. But I think he's doing it for another reason. And first off, though, like, the Grey Seer is a wizard 1. He's definitely not getting into combat because he's a little cloth wearing boy and he doesn't do any damage. So, but in the hero phase, he has the Warpstone shards. So every time you cast, the next time you cast a spell, which is any time you cast one because he's only wizard 1,
Right.
he rolls 3d6 instead of 2d6. Okay. And then if the roll is equals 13, the spell is successful and cannot be unbound. And then after that, you take d3 damage. But if it's not 13, you just remove one of the dice and you keep the other 2 as your roll. So that's fantastic.
That's pretty good.
And that's,
but you only cast one spell.
Yeah, well, he only casts 1 anyways.
Yeah, but that's shit. He should be a 2-caster. I don't understand it.
Well,
he's one of the better casters in the game. Like the Grey Seers always have. I'm not sure why they decided that they needed to be a 1-caster. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just one.
That's fair. I mean, he's 120 points. I think if he was a 2-caster, he'd be a lot higher,
200
points wise.
190.
But I do like the Grey Seer in the list. He's going to be pretty reliable on casting a spell. So he's either going to cast out some of your endless spells, or if you had a decent one off the lore, then I guess he would do that. But the Storm Fiends, I think the reason why he's got them split up is because they have an ability to tunnel out of the ground. Let's read what that exactly is here. So Storm Fiends have 2 abilities. One is in the movement phase, and if they were put in the tunnels, so you deployed them in the tunnels, and they're equipped with the grinder fists, then you can set them up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from all enemies. So they have their own tunneling ability outside of the gnaw holes. And that's another, I guess that's another twist on that too, is you're going to have gnaw holes on the board. So either these guys are going to come out of gnaw holes or come out with their grinder fist, pop up somewhere, and then move through gnaw holes. I mean, you could probably get these guys anywhere you wanted on the table. Now, them being in 2 units of 3, I'm going to guess that he's using these guys to set himself up for some tactics also.
Yeah, probably early he'll bring them out there, get a couple tactics,
Yeah,
and they'll start using them to do some damage.
Like, I'm sure he can put clan rats with the Vermin Lord in the center of the table. You auto run the clan rats and you move up the vermin lord to take the center. I think you got a pretty reliable way of scoring the board edge one. You got sneaky ways to move your guys around the board, so it may force your opponent to play a little bit more reserved or kind of castle until you pop your stuff out, which could be a pinning tactic. So maybe if you're going first, you're able to kind of wrangle in your opponent to where you can get 1, 2, and more on the objectives. Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, this is pretty well thought out as far as what you want to do with this particular list.
They also have Skitterleaf as one of their spells.
And that's the teleport spell, right?
Yeah. So you can take a hero wholly within 13 of the caster, including the caster, and put them anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 from enemy units. BT in the chat mentioned we were talking about what it would cost if the Grace Hero was a level 2, and he mentioned that the Gaunt Summoner is the cheapest at 170, and we'll talk about him next because I'm going to be talking about Slaves of Darkness.
There you go, BT. You got it coming. Yeah, I was going to say, like, for when you said 2 caster on the Gracier, my Arc Regent is a 2-cast wizard, and he's 190.
That's why I said 190, 200.
Yeah.
I think the normal for a regular basic 2-caster.
Yeah.
As far as other spells go, you have a Strike Last spell and a D3 Mortals unlimited spell, so everyone can do that. So you have a couple different options.
Yeah. Sure. I mean,
like Mike said, those D3 spells can really do some stuff to heroes. That's what he mentioned with that Manfred spell. I said that I wasn't in love with. Said it's going to be good against heroes. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you got heroes like the Gracier, it's only got 5 wounds, and they take 3 in one spell. I mean, that ain't nothing. I mean, then you'd have to spend a rally just to heal them. Provided he doesn't get picked off by something else beforehand. So it may be hard to protect the Gracier, really.
Yeah. So, what do you think you changed in this list?
I would combine Storm Fiends myself because I just love big elite units.
You can bring the thing he doesn't show about the Storm. You have weapon choices for them.
Yeah.
Shooty or melee, and you can bring one of them with the Warp Grinder thing and still
pop them out. Yeah. So I think I would do that as one of the changes. I'm a little bit torn because I think I would remove the Night Runners and bring something else. But that only gives you 130 points, and I don't know offhand like what 130 points get you in Skaven.
I think
that would be good enough to replace them with.
I would consider taking out the Night Runners and the Gracier. Maybe.
I mean, the only other obvious, well, not obvious choice, but the only other like choice I would think is like either taking out the Vermin Lord or Thankful, just to get more bodies on the table.
That's going to be the biggest thing with this is scoring points. Your Storm Fiends are going to be your scorers. Your Night Runners will help. Your Clan Rats will get out there and do something for a minute. Be there at the end of the game. I just don't know. Like, you got a lot of stationary stuff with your Giselles. I don't know how fast the Storm Fiends really move. Once they're on the table, they move 6. So they're going to be maybe out of position depending on what you end up doing with them when you dig them in.
Yeah.
We don't know what he does.
You almost have to like make sure when you deploy your other gnaw holes that they're in semi-reachable range for those guys in case you need to move them around the board. I do like the 6 Giselles. I think that's pretty pretty
Sales.
great. So, and I don't know, maybe you just have, yeah, I don't know. You don't have a whole lot of board presence here. I think it's more of like tricksy, moving around, sneaky stuff.
And maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he just feels like he's gonna table people. I'm not sure.
Well, that could be too. I mean, like if you put the Vermin Lord and Thankful into something, whatever what something is, probably dead, right? And if you put both the Storm Fiends, the shooting, and then you're able to get them into combat, whatever they're in combat with probably dies. So you got a couple nice hammery things, and then also the Jezzail's softening up a unit. Maybe the Jezzails have to soften up something you charge 3 of the Storm Fiends into. That would make sense, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like. I'd like to see this list in action.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll be able to see that. We're trying to get Gabe back into the RTT this weekend coming up. So maybe he'll be able to get in if we can. Like I said, if we can figure out the table things, I think we should probably be able to squeeze another table in. Get him back in the RTT because his plans opened up. So and then hopefully he can bring this, and then we can watch it play because that'd be fun. Because just off looking at it, and I mean this is just a little bit of objective thinking anyway. Is go, because what I personally like may not be the best in his list design. Like the 2x3 Storm Fiends, may just be what this list needs instead of having them combined.
I think it's about board presence with that.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, because you got 2 big heroes, 2 little units of weak boys, and then your shooting unit that you're never going to get anywhere but in combat, and they just have to stay in the back with the Grayseer. And then you got the 2 units of Storm Fiends that have to go around and they have to tag objectives or something. I mean, they got to do something, right? So I guess the Night Runners do that too, I suppose.
Could you take out 1 unit of Storm Fiends and just run 1 unit of 3 and then bring maybe another unit of Night Runners or something else just to add more models to the table?
Yeah, you got what, 260? I mean, you could take out 3 Storm Fiends and bring in 2 more units of Night Runners. Would be exactly the same points.
Or Night Runners and something else for 130. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're.
I don't know if you want 3 units of Night Runners.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't know, because Clan Rats are 160, so you're not going to be able to do that. You bring 2 units of Night Runners, then you got 130 points left over, but the trade-off there is, do 3 Storm Fiends outperform 2 units of Night Runners?
Maybe. It depends on what you're trying to do with them. I mean, you don't have prospectors on this list. Night Runners, prospectors.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, do you just go for more movement shenanigan things and sneaky stuff with the Night Runners to be able to run out and grab things, or are you fine with 1 unit of them and then better shooting and combat attacks from the Storm Fiends? I don't know. Storm Fiends are on a 4-up save. It's not great. And they have no ward save. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Storm Fiends aren't as survivable as I thought either. I guess putting them in a unit of 6 would be better, but they got 6 health though. So you're never gonna. Well, here's the other thing: you're never gonna be able to rally those dudes.
Nope.
You could heal them, but you're never gonna be able to rally a single dude out of that unit. So I don't know.
Do you have a heal spell?
I don't think so. I think it's just the heroes that can heal themselves. So,
I don't know. I mean, Storm Fiends are probably the coolest models in that army. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I'm bringing Storm Fiends.
Well, and maybe you just don't. I think Gabe did say something about how he really loved those models and he wanted them to play them on the table, which is probably why they're here. But yeah, I think the list will beat lists. I don't know if this will have a shot at winning Adepticon or something like that.
I don't think it wins Adepticon.
But I mean, that we may have our opinions changed on this if Gabe can make the RTT and we see it in action. But yeah, I mean, I love the two big heroes. I think the clan rats are probably an auto take in any Skaven list just because they're 20 bodies. Yeah. The Jezzails, I really love the shooting abilities with those dudes. Well, you know what? The Storm Fiends also benefit from the battle formation too, because they're Scryer. So you could power them up to give them +1 to wound and +1 to rend on their shooting attacks. So I didn't notice that before, but they are Scryer.
Who is that?
The Storm Fiends.
Yeah, they're Scryer, and I think they're also the gross guys, whatever they are.
Mulder.
Mulder.
Yeah, so you can get these guys. I mean, if you all had attacked them, you can get them to like 3s and 2s with Ren 3. So, yeah, I mean, they're probably pretty decent anyway. So, I mean, that's what my overall take would be. I think this list probably has some play. Maybe not the most optimized list for a giant tournament, but who knows? I mean, I haven't seen any Skaven list in action in 4.0 yet, so this may be just good enough.
Yeah, I haven't written one yet either. I think probably if I was going to do anything, it'd be the Storm Fiends, either -1 unit or minus both. But otherwise, I think that it's a good start, and we'll see it hopefully in our tournament, and then we'll know better.
Yeah. And I'm excited to actually see the models because we did see some photos of them, but I'm sure it doesn't do it any justice to what it can actually be, looking at them in real life. So thanks, Gabe, for your list, and I hope it does well because I hope you just prove me wrong and the list is real good. That's what I would say.
I mean, as Jeff said, who takes advice from a guy who goes out free in an RTT?
Yeah, I mean, he ain't wrong. All right. Yeah, last list, Slaves to Darkness.
Yeah. So this list, I believe, was submitted by Brett. It was our first list submitted for Pimp My List. He's running Slaves to Darkness, God's Wrath Warband, 2,000 points, 2 drops. He's running Lure of the Damned because he has to. He's running Morbid Conjuration. General's Reg is Be'lakor, 2 units of 5-man Nurgle Knights, and a 6-man unit of Khorne Baron Guard. And then in the Regiment 2, the Gaunt Summoner, BT, is coming at you. And that is his character that's running Infernal Puppet and Radiance of Dark Glory. Then he also has 2 units of Fell Riders with Javelins and the Nexus Chaotica. So I wrote down what those items do. The Infernal Puppet, once per battle at the start of any turn, declare you pick a wizard within 24. Roll the dice. If you... oh, no, you don't roll dice. I was thinking it was a spell. For the rest of the turn, each time that target is picked to use a spell ability, inflict D3 mortal damage as a reaction. If the target's destroyed, the spell doesn't go off. And then the Radiance of Dark Glory. Any hero phase, you pick each damage Oops. Pick each damage-friendly unit wholly within 12 of the unit, and then you roll a die for each target. On a 3+, you heal 1, and on a monster, it heals 3. So those are okay.
Yeah.
My thoughts on this list. So let's start with God's Wrath Warband. Don't change a thing. Chef's Kiss. That's my favorite to use right now as well. I feel like you get to do extra mortal at the end of every phase, and you're going to be sitting on circles anyways, so it's easy to desecrate those circles. It's easy cheesy. Bellicor, your general, best model in the entire Chaos genre. Should be played in every competitive list. I've used him a few times now, and since then, I would again like to formally apologize to Mr. Mike Roush. He's way more fighty than I from last edition. I don't think I've had him die in a single game. I don't know if you've killed him once. I can't recall, but I don't think I've had him die in a single game. And he's definitely gone out there. He moves 14. He's doing damage. He's casting spells. He's doing a lot of stuff. Double caster. I wouldn't change a thing. He has to be your general because he's a warlord. So let's talk Nurgle Knights. I love the fucking hell out of Nurgle Knights. I love Nurgle everything. I'm not confident I'd run 2 units of them.
Well, reinforced maybe though.
No, I don't even think I'd reinforce the Knights. I just don't think that they're not enough of a hammer unit. They're a pinning unit. They're not going away. I mean, they got that badass save, 3 up.
Well, you get 10 in a unit. Is it 10 or 5? 5s?
5.
Okay.
So you're bringing a unit of 5. He's bringing 2 units of 5. They're just, I love them. I mean, I run them in my army right now.
Oh, these are the Cav, right?
Yeah, the Knights.
Okay.
Yeah. They like, how many units are you going to want to pin? I guess is really the question. If you're really worried about 2 big units, I don't know. The other problem with bringing 2 units of Knights is they move 10. Everything in this list, Bellicor moves 14. The Knights move 10. The Varangard moves 10. The Dark Oath Fell Riders move 12. The Gaunt Summoner moves 5 or 6. So he's just standing back in the back like, hey, guys, come kill me by himself. So I feel like maybe bringing a unit of warriors is maybe more beneficial. I guess you could use them as your chaff, block some of your faster units. But in that sense, you have the Fell Riders. So I just don't see the point in the 2 units of the Knights personally. I definitely wouldn't reinforce them. I don't think that you need 10 Knights. Like, if you do, you're running that unit out there and you're sticking into something, and you'll never get to play with that unit ever again because you're going to be stuck to those Knights till the end of time. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. The Gaunt Summoner, 170 points for a 2 caster. Generally speaking, Cav is it fantastic. I mean, I run a ton of Cav, but the Gaunt Summoner is a 2 caster at 170 points. And that's really the only thing he's bringing to the list. If you're bringing Morbid Conjuration, you kind of have to run Bellicor and a Gaunt Summoner to give yourself 4 casts. If you bring any less, then you're going to switch it up and bring the Crown Spine. His ability, I don't think really does anything in this list to put people in the Ivory Tower or whatever, and then bring them back. I just I don't see anything in this list that I'd want to like hide off the board and then bring on within 9 or outside of 9 and within 12. he has a spell that makes it so you can deploy the unit with an 18 and only 7 inches away from enemies. I don't like it. I don't think it's very useful. I mean,
I
you
mean,
have to.
7-inch charge is still better than 9.
Well, yeah, but it has to be within 18 inches of him too. So he moves like 6. He's like fucking crawling across the board. Everything else is
No,
just,
he moves 6 plus D6 because you're gonna run that fuck.
yeah. So you're gonna wait till the second turn, and if he dies, you don't get your unit.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
He
I
doesn't
just think
have to die. I mean, you can surround him with a unit of Dark Oath Fell Riders.
and that's just my opinion. I think I don't love the Gaunt Summoner. I've seen him in a lot of lists, like a lot of lists that we've looked at from tournaments. He's popular. He's just not. I mean, he has to run.
He's the cardio king. Yeah, that's for sure. He'd run every turn.
Yeah. So I don't love his ability. I don't love his spell, but I do love that he's a 2-caster for 170 points. French, we'll talk.
Yeah, I know that's coming. I knew it. just wait, French. Just wait. It's coming.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing about this list that I question is that Dark Oath Fell Riders. They're good. They move 12. They have 3 wounds each. They have a 5-up save, but they're not really doing a lot of damage. So you're going to be your prospectors. They're going to move across the board pretty quickly and easily. They have that ability where you can't shoot them. They're -1 to get shot. But I personally like Furies more. Furies are going to move just as fast, but they're going to be able to fly, so they're going to be able to get over some stuff and over other units. And then if they do get stuck in combat, before they can even be attacked on a 3+, they're going to be able to just run away. So if you need to be on something and not in combat, they can just roll up, stick into something. As soon as the combat phase starts, you get to do all your actions. Before attacks happen, you get to roll on a 3-up. They run away, and they're just safe at that point. Now, I mean, there's only 6 wounds in the demon unit, but they do have a ward save. I don't know. I mean, I've heard some people like the Fell Riders too. They're really good. They have a ranged attack. They have a melee attack. The ones you have are the Javelin Boys. I mean, it's just a matter of preference. I like them as blockers for your bigger units. They're good. I used to use the Marauder Horsemen in Warhammer Fantasy Battles all the time with units of dogs and Marauders. They'd go out there, throw their axes, do their things. I don't hate the unit. I just wonder if maybe the Furies are better. So yeah, as far as changes, I like to have a slower warrior unit in my army, just to kind of protect that wizard a little more. If you want to bring the Gaunt Summoner, all the power to you. He's a 2-caster. It's great. If you don't, you can run the Sorcerer Lord. He gives a bonus to the warriors. He gives the ward save to the warriors or to chosen. So that might be, either one of those might be a better take than the Nurgle Knights, the second unit of Nurgle Knights. If you really want to run 2 drops, I might just run Be'lakor as my only caster and bring a Demon Prince, because the Demon Prince is handing out fucking buffs to everybody. Now, I've been having conversations with Tim about this on the side, and he's like, his thought is like, how great is the Eye of the Gods table? It's going to give you a couple bonuses. They're not that wonderful. I mean, I like extra rent. I like ward saves. And off the top of my head, I can't even remember. Is it plus to hit? I can't remember. I mean, I like the rend in the ward saves.
I mean, that's why you roll on it.
Right. So personally, I think those two buffs alone are worth it. And to bring the Demon Prince, you're just getting that every turn on a 3-up, or every one of your turns, I think. On a 3-up, you're just adding that for free. They don't have to kill shit, and and your stuff will kill stuff. So I really like the Demon Prince a little bit better than your Gaunt Summoner. Another choice would be Abrexia. Oh, I have more stuff to say. Oh, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Abrexia is another choice. She's fast. She's a hammer. She buffs your unit of Erengard. She's not a wizard, so you're going to lose that. But, I mean, you're bringing Kronspine with Bellacore. And, I mean, she's able to get out there and do her own thing. I ran her once against you, Jake.
Yeah.
And she was real strong. Then I tried the Demon Prince. He was real strong. I wish I could fit them both, to be honest. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was Varengard of Khorne. I mean, they're real good. They're going to get that bonus attack on the charge. But do you need the bonus attack on the charge? Why wouldn't you play with Nurgle? I play Nurgle everything. I think Nurgle's by far the best. -1 to wound. Like, just gimps some armies. And it protects your guys. The cool thing about Varengard is they're hard to kill, but they are killable, as we've discovered. You give them that -1 to wound, and they're just that much more difficult to kill. The thing about them is that if you're running the Khorne, you're going to lose them faster. If you're running the Nurgle, you're going to lose them a little slower. And the problem with Varengard is they rally on a 5. You have to get 5 to rally 1 bro. And you're just not getting a lot of rally off on that unit. So, but Khorne makes them more killy. So, I mean, I know some people do a lot of mixed. I run, in my army, I run a unit of Khorne Knights, a unit of Khorne Varengard, Nurgle. A unit of Nurgle Knights, a unit of Nurgle Varengard, a unit of Nurgle Warriors, a Nurgle Wizard, and if I bring a Demon Prince, he's fucking Nurgle too. Because Nurgle's by far the best. Nothing even remotely close. Like, some people are thinking, oh, if I bring Chosen, I'm going to bring my Chosen, and I'm going to make them Slanesh, so they get, like, bonuses to their movement. That's cool. You can do that, but I'm bringing Nurgle, and yours will be dead, and mine will still be on the table because they're fucking Nurgle, and it's just better.
Yeah. Well, it's always been the thing where if you can give some kind of bonus to or debuff to wounding, you just, it's better. I mean, there's just not enough in the game that offensively gives you +1 to wound,
right,
even to negate the debuff. So it's just been historically like that. So if there's something that you can modify for wounding, you do it.
Yep. I mean, that's my thought. They're not going anywhere. And you have, I mean, those, as we've seen, Varengard, I've cleared off Ushran in 1 turn. I've cleared off Nagash in 1 turn. I mean...
Yeah, they're definitely a problem, especially if they're charging.
Yeah, I can't remember. Somebody had said in the chat earlier that you have to put too much into Nagash to clear him out. 1 unit of 6 Varengard of Nurgle. Toasty. I mean, they're getting 2 attacks. They have to roll pretty well, but I mean, all attacks, you're smacking that unit. And if you bring Abrexia, they're going to get to attack twice without having to strike last on the second one. That's how I did Ushi.
Yeah, and I think I might have been able to figure out how to deal with the Varengard from our last game. You can't have them charge you. You just can't.
Yeah.
Because it does 2 things. One, it reduces the damage you're going to take, right? And also, the Varengard player won't want to use his once per game fight twice if he's not doing max damage.
Well, I think
So you may not use it, right?
it just depends. I mean, you're saving that to kill something important. And when I lost him, I mean, it took you the entire game to kill him.
Yep. But they weren't into my important shit and killing it all.
Right, and you were hitting him with knights. You just got knights to him. And I think in our game that we played, I went second.
You had me go first. Yeah.
I think I probably would do most of the time in the current way things go, but I didn't set up very well for it. So it was only our second or third, probably my fourth game of fourth. So we've got a long way to go before we're gonna have perfect strategies down with our armies. But yeah, so I mean they are susceptible even with Nurgle, but I mean it took you the entire game to peel 6 Nurgle Varangard. So. And then I did not have a Brexia, so, I think maybe with a Brexia, they're even tougher. So, I'm not sure. As far as changes go, as I was saying, I would bring those, I would get rid of those Dark Oath Fell Riders and bring the Furies. If you love the Fell Riders, they're a good unit. I don't like the Gaunt Summoner myself, but if you do, that's also okay. A lot of people do. I would definitely change the Khorne Varangard to Nurgle Varangard, and then the Nurgle Knights. I don't think you need 2 units, but if you want to pin 2 units, I mean that's fine too. I think this army is playable and will win games. I think Slaves is a 4-1 army at least in big GTs, and I think this could go 4-1. The only other thing that I really wonder about is, do you want to bring 3 units with your general? I like to minimize, maybe bring 1 just to use the special rules, but to give less less things you can kill with tactics.
I mean, clearly though he's got Varangard that are reinforced that are hard to kill because they're 5 or 6 wounds apiece, right?
Right, and then
2 Nurgle Knights, which are harder to kill. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's the thought there, but
that's what I was going to say. But I mean, you are still giving someone the option 3.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably move one of the knight units down into the other regiment still, right?
Yeah, because he's got 1, 2.
He's only got 2 in the other one.
I'm not sure if a Gaunt Summoner can bring a unit in.
And maybe they can't. But I mean, that would if you could probably do that.
Yeah, you could put a unit of Furies against a unit of Varangard, and they would just hate their life because they're not killing shit, and they're just going to get tied up the whole game. You're not even wrong.
The other thing I would worry about, especially into this early meta that we're seeing, is that Night Hunt is so popular that are you going to struggle against an army that is always going to be able to retreat at will and charge you again and retreat and charge and retreat and charge over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, they still have the ability to deep strike. They get all the debuffs from charging all their shit in. I mean, depending on what kind of unit it is, right? If it's a hero or a cav or an infantry or whatever. Could they MSU tie up your Varangard unit the whole game?
Yeah. I mean, everything struggles against Nighthawk right now.
That's what I mean. Like and I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take the something to change in the rebalance when it comes out.
It's going to be points, and I think they're going to have to make it so you can only retreat and charge and run with 1 unit instead of every unit.
Yeah, but I don't know if they'd make that big of a drastic change. I mean,
They have to. I mean, that formation by itself is what makes that army ridiculous.
maybe, but like how many times? Well, they'll probably definitely start off with a points change. I would imagine. I can't imagine that fourth edition rules come out and then 2 or 3 months into the new edition, you just go, "Whoa, shit! This shit is fucked." Rewrite some stuff instead of going, "Hold on, let's just bump up the points because clearly that's too cheap to bring." Because the problem is they're cheap and they get to do things, right?
And
So
they have
that's what I'm saying. Like if you make them more expensive, would it get to the point where you go, okay, well now they can't bring 2 units on the table because everything else went up 20 points or something. And maybe that would solve some of the problem. I didn't say that was the total fix, but I don't think they would go, "Oh, we're going to jack up the points and we're going to make them so they can't do this thing no more."
Well, they already can charge even though they're in combat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's ridiculously strong also.
Yeah, so they're letting them always have their debuffs. Right? Is essentially what they're doing.
You can charge, just lets you move around, get anywhere on the board, not be in fights if you don't want to be in fights.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if they did one minor thing and said that they couldn't run and charge, because right now you're just running rolls with everything because it doesn't matter. Like you just run with every unit, and then if you get a handful of units close enough to people, you're charging them. So they already move 8. They don't need
want them to be able to
move
retreat
8,
charge, but not retreat and run and charge.
Retreat and charge is fine. People have retreat and charge. Like if I built my whole army with more big knights, I could retreat and charge with everybody.
Yeah, except for yours are way more expensive. And
well, that's what I mean. Like if they bumped up the points,
rend, and I mean,
yeah, I'm not handing out debuffs or whatever, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I've been saying I think Nighthaunt, even since the beginning, is going to be one of the stronger armies just because they ignore everyone's special rules. They don't take rend. So all these new rules where like this +1 to rend against cavalry, +1 to rend against infantry, they're like, go fuck yourself. And then you tack onto it that they're so mobile. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, and I played Spearhead, and and they don't do like they don't have any like mega hammers. Everything is like ping damage, but they have tons of attacks and they can get where they need to get, and you can always get stuff. I mean, and you got recursion. Everything rallies. You retreat it and rally it.
Well, I mean, I played a game against Mike the other night, and he was testing out a Nighthaunt list. And in my head, I thought, cool, he's trying out Nighthaunt, and I'm just going to get raffle stomped into the ground, and it's not going to be any fun. Now, I did lose, but only because mathematically I couldn't outscore him in the final turn. I think he was up by 4 going into turn 5. But I did that on purpose to myself because, one, I didn't want to suffer his charge with his whole army turn, so I took a double.
Okay.
So I purposely went down on points, but I fucked up a lot of his stuff by taking the double.
Sure.
So he didn't have as many models on the table for when it was his turn to charge his shit back into me and whatever. Like I had to do that or else I would have gotten eliminated quickly. And throughout the rest of the game, it was okay. Like I didn't feel like he was killing a lot of my stuff. But he still had a little bit more board presence than me because one of the problems with Nighthaunt is not so much what they can do, but some of the units they have are crazy. like the Dreadblade Heralds, right? That unit is just about impossible to kill.
Why?
They teleport in every movement phase.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking of
No,
the
no
big
the Harridans.
yeah.
No, the Dreadblade Heralds. They're just like you. The only way to kill them is if you have with spell damage, because it's the only phase that they can't retreat out of your range in. So like you go, oh well, I'm just gonna shoot them, right? I'll get in range and I'll shoot them. So you move, you get in range, and then they go, okay, now it's my turn to do move phase abilities. They teleport to the other corner of the board and you can't touch them now. And then they just teleport again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So if you leave an objective open, they own it. If they got to get to the other side of the board and stay in a corner for a turn so they can get like, part of that death tactic where you got to get across the board into your opponent's territory with a couple of units, they help out with that. They help out with the board edge one. They help out with taking objectives. It's like that single unit of 2 little horses scores you 3 or 4 tactics on their own. If they couldn't do that one thing, if that unit was not in the list, they'd struggle a little bit more, which might feel better. So it's a combination of a lot of different things, but those guys being in the list are real crazy to deal with, because you just have to like let them do the thing. There's no counter unless you got some kind of spell that there happen to be in the range of that you can do like a crap ton of mortals to them or something. But
they only have 3 wounds each.
That's what I mean. You got to do 6 to kill them. I mean, if you don't kill them, you're still going to do and then they could rally. I don't know. They're tough, but anyhow, that's off topic, I guess.
Not really. We're through the list.
I know, but I mean, like, we're not reviewing a Night Hunt list, but it goes to show you're gonna have to deal with a couple different things. Clearly, with this NashCon top 10 that we went through over earlier, you're definitely gonna have to deal with Night Hunt, Lumineth, Cruel Boys, Slaves, and then sprinkle in whatever flavor someone's doing well with, right? Yeah, Cruel Boys and Night Hunt, most popular in that top 13 undefeateds from day one. They got a Zinch and OBR, Slaves, and Ideneth, and Soulblight. So we'll see how day 2 turns out today when they finish up later on. But initially off the bat, you're going to have to try to deal with very mobile armies and have a way to counter what they can do. Now, I don't know if there's a list that exists that can deal with everything, like a hard counter to the meta. But that's what you're going to have to think about when you're doing some of this list building, and not so much like, oh, I don't like the Fellow Rider's choice. Well, maybe they are a decent choice because they are fast and can get into something, but this is all theory crafting into the new 4th edition meta as it stands right now. Clearly, I think we've seen that stat. What was it that we've seen that the Night Hunt are winning 67% of their games or 68%, something like that?
Yeah.
Nerfs, so big problem. If they get nerfed to bring them, I mean, they got to lose. If they lose 10% of their wins, they're still going to be on the top of the win percentage. So that's probably going to have to be tuned a certain way to make them. I mean, I hope that they wouldn't do this. I hope that they wouldn't go, okay, they're too strong, mega nerf, now they're bottom third.
Yeah, I hope not. Also, they were pretty bad last edition. It's good to see them getting some
Yeah,
dubs.
that's what I mean.
Halo dudes, I think we saw your list, but I think you just placed it on there today, so we weren't able to kind of prep for it. So we'll do that one when we get a chance.
Yeah, we got a lot. We actually got quite a few lists in there that we can review. We didn't think that we'd be able to get through more than 4 lists if we took about 20, 30 minutes a list to kind of go through them. So, but we'll do more episodes of this. This is going to be a staple show, the Pimp My List episodes. Because I think it's a real cool idea, and I think it's engaging with audience because clearly we've had more chat in here than we've had in the previous shows. So, so it'd be good to see and talk with you guys when we go over your lists. I think one thing we can probably do a little bit better in doing is if we pick your list for the show, we should probably ping you in the Discord. And that way you can jump on the show and hear live our commentary, and then you can counter back with what your thoughts were when you made the list, probably.
Yeah, I think I did this last night at work between seeing patients. So it would have been more effective had we done it earlier in the week when we knew we were going to do this show.
Well, but even so, like if we decide like, hey, these are the 4 lists we're going to look over, and then just tag the 4 guys that post the list and say, hey, your guys' show is going to be Sunday morning if you want to stop in and see it, whatever. Probably should have done that, but we're not good at our job, so.
Well, this is the worst show on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you guys followed and liked and did all the things that make the dings, pat yourself on the back for liking the shittiest show on the internet.
Yeah, there's something to be said.
Yeah, probably. And we will maintain the, what do you call it?
The level of professionalism and expertise.
Oh, there you go. That's well said. Yeah.
We won't get worse.
No, it's impossible to get worse when you start from the bottom.
Yeah.
But
to come watch because maybe somebody can give us some tips on how to fucking be better.
Oh, hey, fuck, Luke finally woke up and got out of bed. Must be tough to be 17. Oh, yeah.
All our shows are posted on YouTube.
Yeah, so after the show, shortly after, anyways, I'll edit the show notes in the YouTube, and then we'll post it, so it'll be available for you guys there too. Luke did. I want to point out that Luke put a couple lists in the Pimp My Show channel yesterday, and I so badly wanted to do a review on one, so maybe we'll get into that the next time we do one. He had a couple interesting lists, but still cool. I won't get into them too much, but I think what do we got next week? Next week we got the show with Jeff. Is it Sunday night?
Well, now that's our plan, but I have to revisit with Jeff.
Okay.
Just to make sure he's still on board. And then it'll be our show after our tournament also. So we'll be if Jeff's not available, I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about just from our tournament.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know Jeff, one of our buddies we met a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Give or take.
Jeff runs the Michigan GT. He TOs the AoS tournament there at that event. Real good dude, super friendly. Him and his partners actually opened up a game store recently in Lansing that we went up to and played an event in third place not too long ago, a few weeks back. So props to Jeff for running a great tournament at Michigan GT. I think last year they hit their highest player count, which was, I think it was 100
Something like
before the drops. I think they had 100 registered at one point. So expect that to be at least that. I think he actually made a post on Facebook, I think, the other day that they had only one ticket left, and that's probably gone by now. So if you did not, if you didn't get a ticket to MIGT, I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll open up some more.
Oh, I doubt it, but they'll have drops. Every tournament has drops, so I mean,
that's true.
Just tell them you want to play, and you'll get put on the list. I wish I knew what Ethan's schedule looked like, because I'd really like to get an army built and painted for him and get him to MI, but probably not this year. I think school gets in the way. I don't know when school. September 1st.
Yeah, I think it's early September that school starts, which kind of stinks because I'm sure he'll have something on that, like
football Friday,
Saturday or Friday night. Well, yeah, that's going to be the problem. Friday night football, and then even if he was available to come up, it'd be super late.
Yeah, which
I guess even coming up Saturday morning wouldn't be that horrible of a thing to do, but
yeah,
still an early day anyway. But yeah, anyway, so Jeff's gonna run the Michigan GT, and we had talked to him a few times to try to get him on a show, because we want to do a show about running a tournament, and I think that might be appealing to anybody out there that's actually running, whatever you run, whether you're running a basement hammer event with 6 of your buddies, or you're trying to do what we're doing and running some RTTs at a store, and then even trying to organize for a GT that we're doing. So I think we'll get some good insights from Jeff as far as like what goes into thought process of doing running tournaments, what you need to have, what you need to think about, this and that. So yeah, I think it'd be a fun show to have him on, and hopefully he's available. So next week we'll plan on that, and if not, then we'll pivot and do a different show. But we'll have Jeff on at some point, I think.
Yeah.
So
he seemed interested. He liked our show from what he had seen previous. So hopefully we'll get him in.
Yep. So anyways, that wraps it up. That's the Pimp My List version of Old Man Gaming. We'll, like I said, we'll do these again. We will. I'll do a better job of announcing it next time we're going to do one, and then tag people that we pick the list from. And that way, you guys have a little bit more notice to jump on the show. But I think we'll tag you in Discord now. Just so you know, we reviewed your lists, and you can watch the show back on YouTube. So, yeah, we'll get it up here on YouTube as soon as this ends, and I guess next week is up in the air as far as what kind of show we're going to do, but we'll do something for you guys next week, Sunday evening.
Yep, should be Sunday night. I'll be home.
Until then, like I said earlier in the show, if you guys want to stop out next Saturday to Our House Gaming here in Monroe, Michigan, and stop in and see us, we're going to be running the RTT there. That'd be great. Yeah. So until next week, boys,